Hey everyone, it's Elizabeth and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to share 6 ways you can start eating healthier today. So a healthy diet is important obviously at every age, but since I have turned 40, I'm 42 now, but in my 40s I'm finding that it's more important than ever to eat healthy and make as many good choices as I can on a daily basis. And these are just little changes that you can start making right now. That's not anything too crazy. Things that you can focus on a daily basis to just start to make subtle shifts in your eating. Just as a reminder, I am not a medical provider, so please make sure that you discuss any changes to your diet or exercise program with your medical provider before making any changes. Now, we know some of the benefits of eating healthier. I mean, there's so many, but some of the main ones for me is, of course, it helps me to manage my weight, which seems to be getting a little bit harder as I go up in the years. It's definitely not the same as it was in my 20s and even my 30s. But thankfully I've got some good habits in place that, help to make it easier. So of course it helps us to manage our weight. It provides us with more energy. And this one it's always been important, but now at this time in my life, I'm all about having good energy and just really feeling my best every day. And, it helps me with my mood and just having that positive, attitude and positive mindset and just really loving life every day. And it also, of course, is a part of healthy aging. So we know that, getting nutrition and getting plenty of healthy food is such a big part of healthy aging. So it's always been important, but now it's even more important than ever before. So I'm gonna share 6 tips that, again, are super easy. It's not anything just incredibly complicated. If you wanna get started on some changes today, these are gonna help. All right, my first tip is to start making more of your own food at home. Cook at home more. Prepare more of your foods at home. I know that can be a little hard, especially if you're not used to doing it, or if you're, we all live such a super busy lifestyle and we just kind of get into, these habits or these ruts where we, it's just, we'll stop and pick up the food, we'll go out to lunch, eat the packaged food or whatever. So how can you eat more food at home? So maybe you already eat your breakfast at home a lot, but you eat lunch out 3, 4, 5 times a week, however many you do, or you dine out for dinner a lot during the week. Start to focus on how you can shift that. I'm gonna tell you why. When you eat at restaurants, you really don't know what they're putting in your food. And even if it's like a restaurant that has sort of a healthy, kind of the name of the restaurant is healthy. They've got like a cute, healthy looking logo. Even still, they're putting so much, oil in that food. They're putting a lot of salt. There might be preservatives in the food. I think one of the biggies is the oils that restaurants use. Most restaurants, and I know there's always exceptions to the rules, but for the most part, restaurants are not using really healthy oils like olive oil and avocado oil and things like that because they're expensive and they're trying to make a profit margin, right, on their food that they're selling to you. So they're going to use cheaper oils that are not as high quality, and those are the oils that are more inflammatory. But there's a restaurant here locally that my family loves. It's my youngest daughter, Emmy. It's her favorite restaurant, but every time I go there, it gives me such stomach upset because I get all these digestive symptoms, and I have really decided that I think it's the oil that they use. Whatever oil they put in their food, it's just so inflammatory for my system, and I can feel the inflammation in my digestive tract for like the next 2 days. And so it's like every time we eat there, it takes me like 2 days to bring the inflammation down in my digestive tract so that I feel like myself again. And so I've just really decided that it's not worth it. Because I feel so bad for the next 2 days. It's okay to eat out maybe a couple of times a week, but you have the most control over what is in your food when you are preparing it most of the time. So on my Instagram channel, which here's the link right here, I'll add it and I'll also put it in the description below. It's at Elizabeth in Little Rock, but I try to post a lot of different recipes that I make during the week myself that are like no more than 6 ingredients. I really feel strongly about that weeknight cooking and weeknight meals should be really simple. Lunches for me a lot of times are leftovers, but yeah, just thinking about how you can prepare more of your own food at home, whether that's breakfast, whether that's more lunch that you've prepared, or more dinner that you've made at home. Maybe save eating out for dinner for weekends, or like a special date night. That's fun too, but just so that it's not something you're doing regularly. All right, my second tip builds on tip number one, and this is a hard one for a lot of, especially if you're a working professional. Brown bag it at lunch. So I'm talking about bringing your lunch from home. If you work in an office, pack it up the night before, pack up leftovers if you've got it, pack up, a salad, go ahead and make that the night before so that you're eating out less at lunch. Y'all, I promise this is gonna make such a difference. I can really tell that my weight fluctuates more. I feel like my clothes are tighter on the weeks that I'm eating lunch out more. So here's a little something about me. If you know me personally and you invite me to, lunch or coffee, or if I invite you, for a meeting or something, you're gonna notice that I typically try to meet people for coffee and not lunch, because I really prefer to eat lunch that I've prepared myself, whether that's swinging by my house in the middle of the day and making a quick avocado toast, or making a quick salad, or grabbing leftovers out of the refrigerator, or taking it with me if I know I'm going to be in my car, or just working away from home. You can get a salad and things like that at restaurants, but I'm telling you right now, the portions are too big at restaurants, and it's like something psychological that we don't even know that we're doing. We eat more at restaurants because they're serving us more, and so we just think we need to eat more because it's right there in front of us. So we tend to eat more at restaurants, for lunch and whatnot. We're eating bigger portions, and then we're getting those unhealthy oils. We're getting more salt added, more preservatives. It's more sugar. Like if they sprinkle dried cranberries on a salad, you may think, hey, I'm getting a salad, and it's, this is a super healthy choice, but you don't think about all that hidden, like, sugars in the dried cranberries or whatever else, the dressing, whatever else that it is that they're adding to the food. So learn to be a brown bagger. That is a big one, and I promise you will notice a huge difference in weight management, and then also just all of the other things that we talked about that comes along with eating healthier, the energy, all of that. Okay, tip number 3. Think about how you can get at least 5 servings of vegetables a day. So just as a reminder, in case you haven't seen this in a while, maybe on the food pyramid or whatnot, but a serving of vegetables is a cup of raw vegetables or a half a cup of cooked vegetables. So I'm constantly thinking about how I can work some into my day so that I'm hitting that 5 or 6 serving mark. The more the better, and the more color the better. So like throwing a cup of spinach in your smoothie in the morning, or having a half cup or so of cherry tomatoes on the side with your sandwich, or some sliced up cucumber, at lunch. Working in a couple of vegetables at dinner. So, if you're making like a stir fry, you can add in carrot, you can add in bell pepper, you can add in onion, you can add in spinach. Just always thinking about how can I get another serving of vegetables so I'm hitting that, 5 minimum mark, which is really going to be beneficial. You're going to get so much more nutrition in your day. All of those antioxidants, you think about all those brightly colored vegetables, think about the reds and the peppers and the tomatoes, think about, the greens and the spinach and the arugula and the kale. Romaine is one of my favorites for a salad at lunch. Think about, the oranges that you could get from butternut squash, sweet potato, carrots. Everybody loves a baby carrot, right? So thinking about how you can work in more servings of vegetables, all of those brightly colored fruits and vegetables are going to be what gives you the most antioxidants in your diet. That's where antioxidants are coming from. So where can you easily add in maybe just a half a cup of cherry tomatoes or cooked green beans or a salad or something like that, so that you're getting 5 servings a day. Okay, tip number 4 for how you can start eating healthier today is to eat a piece of fruit or a serving of fruit when you're craving something sweet. See if you can use that natural sugar from the fruit, which is also coming loaded with all those antioxidants and the fiber from the skin of the fruit. So much goodness in a piece of fruit. See if you can swap that out when you're having a craving, instead of reaching for something packaged some kind of processed sugar like a cookie or an ice cream or something like that. Could a piece of fruit do it and you know, take care of that sweet craving or sweet tooth for you? You know, any fruit, they're all so good for you. Apples, berries, stone fruits like peaches and plums and cherries, all of those fruits that have pits, pears, banana, you know, there's so many delicious fruits, melon, watermelon, honeydew, cantaloupe, all of those that are loaded with antioxidants and fiber and all kinds of vitamins and minerals that we would not get if we chose the packaged fruit. So that's just, or I'm sorry, the packaged food, you know, like the cookies or the candy or the ice cream or whatever it is that you have a sweet tooth for. Just see if you can make that one swap. Another good choice when you're having a sweet craving is a little or a few pieces, small pieces of dark chocolate, like a 70% cacao dark chocolate. That is loaded with antioxidants. There's chemicals in the dark chocolate that actually help with our mood, help with our energy, and dark chocolate is actually loaded with antioxidants as well. So see if you can choose a piece of fruit or a serving of fruit or a little bit of dark chocolate, maybe just a couple of squares, instead of reaching for the highly processed sugary food when you're having that sweet tooth. Okay, tip number 5, and this is gonna merit a little bit of pantry clean out, and I know it's hard when you have kids, so that's kind of something that you've gotta you know, figure out what's the best way to make it work, because we don't want to deprive our kids of their favorite treats, but of course we want them to eat healthy as well. But I think a good idea and something that I have found really helps me is to get out those highly processed foods from the house that are kind of my downfalls. If there's something that I feel like I just can't stay out of when it's in the house, and maybe I'm the only one who eats it, then I just don't keep it in there. And that really helps me to, you know, go for something. I do have a sweet tooth, so that'll help me to choose, you know, like the fruit or the dark chocolate instead of like the ice cream or something else like that. Some other good swaps that you can make are to swap out highly processed carbohydrates like crackers, you know, really unhealthy breads, white bread, cookies, things like that. Swap them out for whole grains. So you've got things like brown rice, you've got quinoa, you've got oats. I do like a sprouted grain bread, so that is something that I do keep in my refrigerator. I tend to eat for myself, I eat the Food for Life Ezekiel. I like the bread and I like the English muffins, so I'll keep those on hand. And then my daughters like the Dave's Killer Bread. So I like both of those ingredients lists, and we'll keep those on hand. They're both you know, they've got a lot of fiber for a bread option. They've got some protein. So I do like that those are a better choice, but then I try to get everything else out of the house that's a highly processed carbohydrate, so that we're reaching for more of the things like the whole grains. You know, maybe a piece of whole grain toast with a little peanut butter for an afternoon snack instead of like a lot of crackers or highly processed cookies or things like that. So make those swaps. Another swap that you can make is to get rid of the unhealthy oils in your house. So if you've got vegetable oils, canola oils, again, those are the lower quality, more inflammatory oils. So swap those out and keep things like a good extra virgin olive oil on hand. Keep an avocado oil, a coconut oil, whatever it is that you like. Those are better oils than the highly processed canola and vegetable and oils like that. There's actually some benefits to the extra virgin olive oils. In fact, a lot of health benefits to extra virgin olive oil. So I recommend keeping those on hand instead of having those lower quality, more inflammatory oils. All right, and my tip number 6 actually doesn't have to do with food at all. It doesn't, but it does, and I'm gonna tell you why, and that is to get more sleep. So I've actually made a video with my best tips for getting good sleep, and I'm gonna link that right here, as well as put it in the description box so you can easily access that one next. But let me tell you why sleep is important for eating healthier, if that's a change that you want to make right now. So when we sleep and get really good quality sleep, you know, about 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night, which is kind of what experts believe that most people need, important hormonal balancing is happening while we're asleep. Our body does a lot of its restorative, and our body repairs itself while we're sleeping, and part of that is kind of rebalancing the hormones. That's a very important work that the body does during our sleep time, so when we're asleep at night. So 3 of the hormones that I want to point out, there's way more than this, but just 3 of the important ones that are getting regulated and balanced while we're asleep are hormones called ghrelin, leptin, and then your insulin hormone. So ghrelin is the hormone that actually makes you feel hungrier. So I always like to think a way you can remember it is like if you smell someone grilling, it makes you hungry, right? So it's ghrelin, Ghrelin. But your ghrelin hormone regulates your hunger. So at night while we're sleeping, ideally we want that ghrelin hormone to balance out and come down. So we want it to decrease while we're sleeping. Leptin is the hormone that triggers fullness and satiety. So we want the leptin hormone to stay higher. So at night when we're sleeping, ideally those get balanced out, but here's what happens when you don't get enough sleep or when you're sleep deprived. Your ghrelin hormone stays too high, therefore increasing your hunger, making you much hungrier the next day, regardless of how much food you eat. And your leptin hormone stays too low. So again, you're not gonna, that satiety and fullness is not going to be triggered the same way it would be if you were, if you had gotten good sleep. So your ghrelin's going to stay too high, your leptin's going to stay too low. So that means the next day what's going to happen is you are going to feel like you are ravenous, and no amount of food is going to satisfy that. You're not going to be, able to be satiated. You're not going to feel full. You're going to want to continue to just eat and snack, and that all has to do with your lack of sleep the night before. So it really affects you in multiple ways the next day. Hormonally is one of them. And then with insulin does quite a few different jobs, but one thing that it is a fat storage hormone. So if our insulin is not being balanced at night, we're going to be more likely to hold on to anything that we do eat the next day as fat. So it's going to cause us to store more fat. And then also your insulin resistance increases when you're sleep deprived. So in order to keep that insulin balanced, as well as the leptin and ghrelin, of course, so many other things are involved, but sleep is really one of them that's important that most people don't realize. So there you have it, 6 ways that you can start eating healthier today. Again, these are not huge changes, just little shifts that you can start to make. If it seems overwhelming to focus on all 6 of them, maybe pick 2 that you start to incorporate today, and then you can add another couple more as you continue along. If you're already doing one or 2 of these things, then maybe pick a couple more that you can start to implement in your lifestyle. And it's all about building those healthy daily habits. I mean, that's really what a healthy lifestyle and healthy aging is all about. But I promise if you start to incorporate a few of these and then eventually maybe working your way up to all of them, you will find it so much easier to maintain weight. You'll feel better, have more energy. It'll benefit you in so many ways. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and like it below. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel so that you don't ever miss out on any of my videos and content just like this. And as always, please let me know if there's anything that you'd like to learn more about, or any particular content that you'd like for me to make here on my channel, which is all about health and beauty after 40. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.